I do enjoy Texas. Can I tell you? I watched No Country for Old Men. I texted you the other day about it.
Oh.
What a great movie! All of the supporting actors are amazing in it. Everyone's so good. I mean, the opening scene when Tommy Lee Jones is reading it off, and he goes, he's talking about, back in the day, but he's doing it in that Southern accent. Back in the day, some of the old police officers didn't carry guns. Lee Jones didn't carry a gun, not the older, the son. Not the son, the older. Like, it was just so.
I love that.
Written.
I love that. That writing is incredible.
Once you explain to me that, I don't think a lot of people watched that movie and this isn't technically a getaway movie. This is a movie about the world is changing. Yeah. This is Tommy Lee Jones's story.
I haven't watched that movie in years because I owned it on VHS. I owned it on DVD. Whenever that came out, whatever the thing was, DVD. I bought that like 3 times because I wore it out. But I got one for you, dude, that we should watch when all this bullshit's over. I watched Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh, dude, we've talked about this a million times. This is the greatest fucking movie ever.
I've never talked to you. I never even heard of the fucking movie. Not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Once Upon a Time in the West.
What's that?
This guy, Sergio Leone. Oh, my God. The score, the way, dude. First thing that I love about the fucking movie is, that Sid Field book, How to Write a Script?
Yeah.
It's out the window. It's out the opening scene is 11 minutes long, and it's just guys looking at each other and about 5 lines of dialogue. He's like, fuck you, man. I'm spinning this yarn, and you settle in, and I'm going to give you breathtaking. It must have been shot in 70 millimeter. It looked fucking amazing. Stars Jason Robards, Henry Fonda as a bad guy, crushing it, and fucking Charles Bronson. And I forget the woman's name. It's like
Claudia Cardinale.
What's her name?
Claudia Cardinale.
Oh my God, dude! It's like it is.
I have to have seen this. This is.
I bet you didn't see it because I saw the spaghetti western, but this thing was like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So I think when we were growing up, nobody ever showed it because it was just that time that, at least when I grew up, you'd see.
Oh, I'm thinking of High Plains Drifter.
Yeah,
with Clint Eastwood. Yeah, I haven't seen this.
This is like remember that time when we used to do this sit next to each other when we had, and I brought that, I looked like a fucking a deli pickle level cigar.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cigar you would need to get through this fucking movie. It was just fucking amazing. I mean, I'm 45 minutes in the movie going, I still don't really even know what this movie's about, and I didn't give a shit. And then right around then, something happens. Now, in that stupid book about how to write a script, it's like the first 10 pages, establish blah, blah, and on page 21, the thing has to happen that propels you into Act 2. All of that is out the fucking window. I watched that, and I watched this French movie called Breathless, which was by this, Jean-Luc something or other, and it was a movie that guys like Martin Scorsese, I guess they claim, was influenced by it. And that whole period of the rebel sort of directors that made all these badass movies in the late 60s and 70s, the French were going through that in 1960 is when it started. So they were actually ahead of where we were at, where a lot of times the way I've seen that talked about, it's typical, like people just talk about your country. So it's like they had the studio system, and then these guys came along and said, no, fuck that. We're going to make what we want to make. And it's like, well, they were also, the same way we know comedians around the world, like directors know films around the world. I think that they were watching it, but it was a really, really, really good movie.
It was Jean-Luc Godard. And a lot of those guys the French directors, they credit Cassavetes, and they were the ones that helped bring his career back. There's actually a really good documentary French made about Cassavetes and the unorthodox style in which he would make movies, mortgaging his house, editor, same as the cameraman, same as an actor, just like down and dirty. Wow. And
he made a movie with Peter Falk that I couldn't get through. It was so real and so brutal. It was just Husbands. Husband. Oh my God.
there's Husbands, and then
Yeah, I bought like this trilogy of like 3 of his movies, and I started to watch that one, and it was so painful. It's so real. I was like, I'm going to take a break, and I just never went back to it. Now I don't have a fucking DVD player anymore.
Woman Under the Influence is the one with
that's the one.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's like it made leaving Las Vegas look like a European vacation.
Did you know, by the way, I don't know if this is fact. Look this up. Did you know that Nick Cage, on the first day of shooting The Rock was the one where he breaks out of jail, right? That he had a stroke?
No.
See if this is real, Andrew. So I watched No Country for Old Men, and then I watched twice one day. I watched it twice one day, and then I watched Raising Arizona twice one day. Twice. Oh. I watched Raising Arizona and No Country for Old Men back kind of ish on the treadmill. Then I watched them in the house that night, full beginning to end. Now, in Raising Arizona, he's got a scar on his face. So I go, wonder if Nick Cage had an actual scar on his face. And there's this site that says like 9 interesting facts about Nick Cage. The first one being the first day of shooting The Rock, he was supposed to do a Midwest accent, but he had a stroke. And so he did a Southern accent and said, just shoot me from the right side. So there's no shots of the left side of his face because it's drooping. And he has a Southern accent. I don't know if that's real.
Wait,
but
did he have Bell's palsy?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a stroke where he couldn't use it. I think it came back, but it's like a version of Bell's palsy. See if that's right, Andrew. By the way,
Nicolas Cage stroke. I don't see anything, but keep you posted.
That's odd. That was the first thing that came up for me. By the way, Raising Arizona is one of the best written movies. I did a deep dive on William Forsythe. William Forsythe is fucking amazing in that movie.
I will say this: I think John Goodman's one of the greatest fucking comedic actors ever. One of my favorite things he ever did in Revenge of the Nerds. He was in a scene. He didn't even have a line. He's playing the football coach, and there's the dean's making a speech or something, and he has a starter pistol. And he's off to the side, and he's just sitting there. He's looking down the barrel of this starter pistol. And it was just this little thing that he did that you just, in the very beginning of the movie, like, I know this guy. I know exactly who the fuck this guy is. This football coach, like, I had gym teachers like this guy. And just that little thing that he did. And then, of course, then watching him on, like, Raising Arizona and everything is just, that fight, that's my favorite fight scene.
Him and... Nick Cage fighting in that movie is
up in the
fucking
hilarious.
He
just goes.
So actually, this is a joke list that you read.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, and that was actually for Con Air. But it also says that filming The Rock, he had a delusional disorder, and so they came to the rescue and they created the movie The Rock so that he could just pretend. Yeah, no, that's
a fucking joke website, and that is what's wrong with fake news. Is that some people are dumb enough?
Well, delusional disorder, that means like your fucking ego's out of control, right?
Yeah, they just made up a medical. They took his character and then they applied what medical problem he would have. Like Ghost Rider, he had like an epidermal problem. Ghost Rider, he's on flames the whole time as a comic book character. So yeah, it's just
I read the first one and was like, great, got my interesting tidbit to drop at a dinner party. Yeah. And I fucking would have told it. That is, by the way, back to John Goodman. John Goodman in Raising Arizona has so many lines in that. There's so many lines in it where I've never heard that language. Like when Nick Cage is holding up the gas station and Molly, what's her name, comes out yelling, Holly Hunter starts yelling at him and he goes, "You better hurry up. The wife and I are in Dutch." And I'm like, wait, what? And then I had to Google it. And it's just, that's what he called it.
What does in Dutch mean?
I have no fucking idea. It's just like, the wife and I are in Dutch. Meaning like, if you go Dutch, I think that's what it means. The best one is John Goodman. They're about to rob.
Dutch means we both pay for half the meal.
The wife and I are in Dutch, meaning we're both going our separate ways. I'm guessing.
Oh.
And so then John Goodman says to William Forsythe right before they're about to rob the Hayseed Bank, after this, my brother, we will be in the fabled catbird seat. And I'm like, what is the catbird seat? Apparently, catbird seat is a very envious position.
That's amazing. I
The
love
writing in it is so fucking good. And and what sucks is that if you like, if I ran into the Coen brothers, say there was say you had a party at your house, you got everyone tested, whatever, hypothetical situation, we all get vaccines, and you go, Bert, I want to introduce you to the Coen brothers. This is what I'm envisioning, and this is what stinks, is that having just watched that movie, I'd be like, the writing in that, and you know that they did it so long ago, they'd be like, yeah, thanks, man, thanks. But something like that hits you so heavy that when you run into the person, you're like, dude, I want to, and then be like, yeah, we get that a lot. You're not the first person to like my movie. It's just so fucking amazing. That movie is so amazing.
I got one for you.
What?
I found this website a long time. This is from 2006. How to swear like an old prospector.
Oh.
They have like dad burn, verb. Dad is to substitute for God in turn of the century Southern U.S. vernacular. Instead of God burn, I guess that's goddamn. Dad burn. Can't get the dad burn thing to get going. Dad burn boll weevil done ate my crop. And of course, there's the classic hornswoggle. That's a
Hornswoggle.
Well, I'll be hornswoggled. That means to get fucked over or whatever. I think I'll be a. Then there's sockdolager.
Sockdolager?
Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, you sockdoggles old man trap. I don't know what any of this means. Consarn. I just like doing the accent. Consarn, the whole of something, though often misused as damn. So let's see the sentence here. All right, put an Englishman into the Garden of Eden, he would find fault with the whole blasted consarn.
Blasted consarn.
I wish I could get these down because my wife doesn't want me to curse in front of the kids. If I could just say, Nia, for God's sakes, can you get the dad burn hornswoggle out of the cornsarn?
Dad nubbit.
Dag nabbit.
I said, Georgia and Anna, we watched Office Space last night. We're watching 100 bucket list movies. Every night we watch a new movie. And last night we watched Office Space. Fucking great movie. By the way, Ron Livingston is amazing in that movie. The whole cast is amazing. But they said, we're sending, by the way, we also watched Shaun of the Dead and Animal House, right? Shaun of the Dead. There's a part where they go in to get his mom or they get girlfriend and they're all coming out and they're like, fuck, where's the car? And the heavier guy, I forget his name, but like the guy that turns into the zombie, the heavier guy, pulls up, stands up and goes, what's up? And drops an N-bomb, like a hard N-bomb, but in a hip-hop way.
Right.
My girls lost their fucking mind. They were like, oh my God, you can't say that. He can't say that. And it was so funny to watch their reaction in National Lampoons. At the end, the army guy, Needlemeyer, is just yelling the F word just nonstop. You faggots, just to nonstop over and over and over again. Yeah. My daughters are like, what the fuck? And the one last night was, they said, you're going in Office Space. They're like, you're going to like ass rape prison. And my daughters are like, they rape men? And they go, watch your cornhole. And they both start laughing. And they go, where's his cornhole? And I said, what do you think a cornhole is? And they were like, I don't know. Is it the game you play? And we're like, oh no. And they're like, what? I said, where does corn come out of? And they're like, oh my God, that's where they raped them? I went, what did you think they did? It like watching old movies, Bill, is like going in a fucking time machine. A time machine.
Well, I would think just watching something from the 2000s at this point, because they said with The Office. When you were saying Office Space, that's what I was kind of thinking. Like you said, Ron Livingston. Like, oh yeah, the movie. I was thinking The Office.
Oh,
they even said like The Office, like a lot of the stuff they couldn't do. I didn't know Will Ferrell came on that show for like 6 episodes, so I started watching some of those. Oh, dude, his character's hilarious. Of course, it's
he's amazing.
Well, it was when Carell's character's leaving, so he's the new manager, and it's one of those things where he comes in at first, he validates everybody, and everybody digs him, and then Steve Carell's character is starting to feel like, well, they're not even going to miss me, and then you start to see another side of his character, and it's just it's Will Ferrell and Steve Carell. That's all you need to know.
Will Ferrell, we watched Elf. Will Ferrell, first of all, Jon Favreau is a fucking gangster. That movie is good because of Jon Favreau. That dude, Jon Favreau, I hope I'm still alive for his Lifetime Achievement Award, because I don't think there's anything that motherfucker's done that I haven't liked.
I love when, my favorite part of that movie is when there's so many, it's so fucking absurd. Elf, when they say Santa's coming and he flips out like a little kid. Santa's coming. Just how much he flips out. I just like, oh my God. And then who's in it with him? The guy from The Godfather there.
James Caan.
James Caan, just looking at him. Sometimes I actually think that the looks he gives them might even be real, where he's just sitting there going, what in the fuck am I in right now? Like, because when you're making them, dude, you have no idea how this is going to come together. And there's a lot of times where they're asking you to do something, man. It's like you got your ass hanging out. You're just sitting there going like, is this going to fucking work? Tell me it's totally going to come together. Totally going to come together.
Dude, when the second you see James Caan, I don't know, John. Have you ever met Jon Favreau?
Jon Favreau? Yes, I have.
I don't know him, but I can't help but think, I only know him from like being a fan of his. I can't help but think that James Caan's casting isn't Jon Favreau's thumbprint. That isn't Jon Favreau.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, and so when you see James,
he does the Mandalorian, Bert. He's kind of killing with that. The whole Twitter universe kind of gave him a standing ovation for how they landed the second. He was trending on Twitter.
I apologize. I haven't watched it. James Caan, I didn't even know he's still alive.
No, Jon Favreau directs does the whole thing.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
He wrote every episode of both seasons.
He wrote them?
No, Rick Famuyiwa wrote the ones that I was in, I believe. I don't know. I don't want to start fucking.
I haven't watched Mandalorian. I'm sorry.
But he's the reason I got in. He did the same thing, going, I want to, there's a part in it for you. And I was like, dude, all I've ever done is make fun of this shit. I mean,
are you serious?
The comedian thing. I see a bunch of people enjoying something. All right, I'm going to shit on it. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I think that would be funny. That's why it would be funny if I put you in there. And I was like, great. Yeah, my wife's kicking me under the table going, say yes, say yes. I was like, all right, I'll do it. Thank God I did.
My favorite movie he ever did was Made. Made was the funniest fucking movie. I gave that my DVD to Louis Anderson, and Louis Anderson never gave it back. He goes, the outtakes alone are the fucking Vince Vaughn, and that is just amazing.
Oh, Vince is one of the greatest ever, one of the fastest minds and most brilliant dudes you're ever going to work. That shot when they're in that convertible and they're going through Old Vegas and the lights are reflecting off the car. That's one of my favorite shots.
Well, that's Swingers, right?
Huh?
Is that Swingers?
Is that Swingers?
Yeah, Made is a gangster movie.
Faison Love is in it, and Peter Falk's in it. There's a lot of great stuff with Peter Falk.
Oh wait, did I see that one? I saw that one a long time ago. Dude, my short-term memory is like, I don't know.
I got to watch The Mandalorian. I know you and Rosario Rosario's in it, right?
Yes.
But there was a period where I kind of stayed away from The Mandalorian because I knew you were in it. And I knew Rosario's in it, but I knew that no one knew that. And so I just never talked about it. I was like, I never tried to bring it up because I didn't want to fuck up because I didn't know if, you get confused and you're like, do people know Bill's in it? Or does he play Baby Yoda? I don't know. I know Baby Yoda's a thing. I just don't know. And I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy. Georgia and Isla are. Maybe we'll watch The Mandalorian. Is it like a movie?
Check it out because they shoot it like a spaghetti western. So there's definitely, because when I saw,
is Jon Favreau a big Star Wars dude?
Huge.
For real?
So it'd be like, yeah, like someone. It's sort of a perfect storm where you got a guy who's a huge fan of it, who actually knows how to write and direct, and then he gets to make it the way he sort of envisions it.
Wow.
And amazingly, how he sees it is how a lot of the Star Wars fans wanted to see it, I guess, because like I said, I've never seen that. Like anytime you have a final episode of a season, there's just going to be people shitting on, what the fuck? Wait till, dude, standing ovation.
Really?
They were just like that was.
So it's like how many episodes and what? It's about Boba Fett and Baby Yoda, right?
I haven't really watched it.
It's about a character. It's about a character who's a Mandalorian, which is the same race of people as Boba Fett.
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that. It's on my list of shit to watch. I was going to try and get. I know, I'm embarrassed now. I'm going to watch it.
Oh,
I watched most of the first season. I just, came out during the holidays.
oh, that's so great.
I know.